The Film Slice Crew review Toy Story 4.
Yep.
Fuck that, we're doing Tolkien.
We've been saying it wrong our whole life.
I'm a bit bloody keen for this.
J.R. Tolkien.
Hey team, Angus, Strachan here, and welcome to the Film Slice Podcast. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Kane Diggly Wiggly, Kane Dogs.
Thank you.
And the man formerly known as Broadly Do Broadman Richards, this week known as... Cool, that's going to be fun to say. This week we did review Tolkien. Kane Dogs, you want to whip out that IMDb summary for us?
Yes, absolutely, I can do that.
Excuse me, that was the chair. I'm in a squeaky chair.
He isn't, though. He's actually on a small wooden stool.
I need to get I should probably get a less squeaky chair. Or just sit still. That's possible for me.
No, it isn't. The formative years of the orphaned Arthur... The formative years...
Yes!
The formative years of the orphaned author, J.R.R. Tolkien, as he finds friendship, love, and artistic inspiration among a group of fellow outcasts at school.
Very good. Not a lot of people know that J.R.R. Tolkien's first name is Arthur.
Yeah. Classic.
It didn't copy well.
That's what the R bit is for. J.R.R. Tolkien. The R bit is for Arthur.
All right. When did you see the movie? What did you think?
When did you see the movie? What did you think? Do you like the movie? No shit. I went and saw the movie at the 10:50 session at the Cinema Nova in Carlton, Victoria.
Very good.
Yes.
How was that? What was that like?
It was like eating a bag of bananas all the wrong way up.
Okay.
But which way is the wrong way up? Is it actually the right way up?
I'll leave that for the audience to decide.
For
there is
another
no
podcast.
correct way up for a banana.
And if you want to know more about that, head over to the Banana Slice podcast.
Where me and only me
where just Brody discusses
talks about bananas and the correct way to hold them in what orientation every single week from here on until I die.
Alrighty.
Very good.
I also saw a 10:50 session at the Nova Cinema.
Very good.
And it was good apart from some of a rowdy bunch that were in the cinema with us. Yeah.
I saw it at the Nova Cinema.
Okay.
Nova Cinema? No, Cinema Nova.
Yeah, that's the correct way of saying it.
Yeah. I saw it there, and first time I've been in the cinema, and it was...
What session did you see? Which one did you see?
I think it was 10 to 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 to 11.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, sweet.
What'd you think?
I thought it was great. I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it.
I have to agree with Angus Man.
Cool.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay.
Cane Dogs
Yeah.
has got a smirk on his face.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he might be...
I feel like he had a shit time.
Look.
Yeah.
And it was about 20 minutes in and I was like, I could be seeing John Wick 3 again right now. If you consider John Wick 3 to be like my favourite film of this year, this movie is as far to the other side of that spectrum as possible. It's still really well made. It's a really well made film, just not about anything I find remotely interesting.
I was gonna wait until the would you recommend it, who would you recommend it to segment, but I feel this comes in quite nicely with the John Wick.
Yeah.
I classify this film as a very intellectual film.
A classic Jason Statham movie. As it's usually referred to as.
And we see what Jordan's intellectual like
Jordan's level is.
But
I've nearly nailed all my ABCs. All 25 of them.
All right,
I
lads.
mean, in the military alphabet, C and K are the same. So, Jordan, nice one. You're a smart boy.
You're a military man.
Yeah.
You know who else was?
Arthur.
That's right. Good segue, bro, man.
As he's largely referred to as.
As he's most commonly known as.
Lads, you know how every week I put up on Instagram, Broadman, you handle the twits.
Yep.
And Cane Dogs, you handle Facey.
I do.
And we each put something up every week.
Yes, we all do that.
Excellent. And normally no one replies. Well, guess what? I got bloody 6 likes. That's about it.
6 likes.
6 likes. That's all I got.
I genuinely can't remember if I
That
put it
is
up or
some
not.
pretty great audience interaction because there's only 3 of us. So that means
At least 2.
At least.
One is my housemate.
But you do have 5 different profiles, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've liked it myself, no.
Nah, neither.
Cool. Anyway,
I've-
that's what we got for Tolkien. Cane Dogs.
Yeah,
Anything on Facey?
I forgot to put it up. I had one person ask
You
whether...
dickhead.
I had someone ask when we're doing Toy Story 4.
I put one up every week without question.
You failed the past 3 times.
Angus and I put one up every week without question.
You failed the past 3 times.
Sweet. Anyway, that's what the Slicey Slicers thought of this week for Tolkien.
They maybe scrap that
Cheers.
Thanks for
segment.
writing in.
guys. Cheers.
Love you guys. Moving on to our next segment. Would you recommend it? Who would you recommend it to?
I'd absolutely recommend this movie. I think if you're a fan of the current genre going around of biographies of
Biopics.
famous people that have achieved immense goals, then this is certainly one of them. It's not a musical, but if you
Shame.
if you want to know more about the writer of Lord of the Rings, then this is a movie all about that guy. And if you didn't want to know about the writer behind the book,
Why
that
did you go to
haven't,
see Tolkien?
why would you see it? Yeah, if you haven't read the book Lord of the Rings,
Yeah, why
and
would
you
you-
liked the movies, but you also know that the book and the movies are somewhat of a departure from each other, and you also know nothing about Tolkien apart from his name, probably not the movie for you.
Why would you go to the niche one cinema that's playing it in Victoria?
Yeah, maybe because you have a podcast and apparently you feel like you have to.
Yeah,
You enjoyed a Port of Mordman.
Sorry, am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're closer than most.
Okay, cool.
Closer than most. He's had a tough time going through school if people just mispronouncing the name. Yep.
No, actually, most people in school were good. So, I'm highly educated.
I can tell.
By me holding my mason jar. I would recommend this. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and going into this movie, I was told that it has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, and I couldn't stop seeing Lord of the Rings references throughout the entire film.
Me
Almost every single scene, there was some reference to Lord of the Rings.
I saw one of them.
The
whole film, I saw one of them.
There was so much in there of imagery that was so iconically Lord of the Rings, and so much inspiration, and also just in texture. I would say, of like materials and stuff that would so remind me of Lord of the Rings.
And it's not even just the movies, like it's not even just the imagery of the movies, but like fan art and everything. There's just like a style. You see something and you're like, yeah, that's from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, definitely. Totally agree. I absolutely love this film. It's very different to kind of the status quo of what we normally review on this podcast. And I'm very happy that we went to do this instead of Toy Story.
I'm also filled with immense joy.
I think if you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, then there's probably something here for you.
I think, if you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, definitely. If you're a cinema buff, if you really like cinematic shots and imagery and
gorgeous film.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Really interesting shots in there as well, which I guess we'll get into.
Yes.
Anything else before we head on into spoilers?
Look, I do like Lord of the Rings, and I do consider myself a cinema buff, but I'm not a biography. I'm not the type of guy that cares about a biopic.
Yeah.
So yeah, find where you land on that, and then if you want to know more about the film, go see the film in that one cinema in your country that's playing it.
Yeah, I think me and Broad are coming at it as I suppose more of a technical thing, because we're both we like the technicalness of it, whereas.
Look, if there's not someone shooting people in the head with a shotgun in every scene, it's a write-off for me.
Yeah, fair. All right, sweet. Into spoilers.
Yeah, is that the right word, Angus? Oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
All right, we are in the spoiler section where we dissect and divulge everything about the film. You've been warned. May Tolkien have mercy on your soul, on your dark and shady soul. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
We've seen.
All right.
First off, cinema dicks. There were 5 people in the cinema, so this will be interesting.
We were 3
There
of them.
were 6, Angus. The 3 of us were us. There was a lovely elderly couple, and then there was a man I didn't know that was in the cinema.
I think he was working there.
He was working there.
Oh,
when
he
we
was
left.
working.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was
Jeez, he creeped the shit out of me because he was just standing right behind me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't know this guy was in the cinema. Has he been there the entire time?
Yeah, he was.
And then I was like, maybe he's gonna wait for all us to leave. And then he left when we left, and there was other people still in the cinema. So I have no idea what the fuck his job is.
Start from the door to let people out.
How about his job is don't get a haircut because of whatever.
Yeah, he had a really, really
Rank.
bad,
It was pretty
really, really bad haircut. It was like a
This
comb
is coming from the
over.
guy who was more or less fired from a cinema for not cutting his beard. It's amazing.
No, I quit. Thank you very much.
Sure you did.
Angus has an epic beard though.
No, they just put me in kitchen where people couldn't see me. True story.
That has nothing to do with the beard.
Yeah, so Cinema Dick for comb over? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Angus's phone.
Anyone
also,
with that haircut,
Yeah.
deserves some
Fair cop. Anyone going to call out the elderly couple?
Yeah, they kind of ruined our vibe.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt a bit.
Okay, so this was a very, very small theater. It was a very small theater, had really nice seats, and it was quite comfy.
Just bringing up the cinema whilst you're there. Oz the Cinema Dick. The screen itself is about the size of a normal plasma TV. Anyway, go on.
I don't think so. It's about the size of a wall.
No, it was
About the size of a wall.
small,
I'd say about the size of a wall.
small wall. Anyway, Brody, go on.
Rather than a narwhal. No. So the elderly couple, they did harsh our vibe a bit because the three of us were very laddie, but we had to be kind of respectable because
Yeah. I mean, Jordan wasn't. he kept on talking through it.
I didn't say a single word the whole film,
No,
but Angus's
that's
phone did vibrate.
Oh yeah, I heard Angus's phone. Or was that your phone that was going off a bunch?
No, it's the elderly couple.
Okay,
Yeah.
The dicks.
Angus, do you have anything to add to the Cinema Dick segment before we head over to a different segment?
No, just that I really actually enjoyed Cinema Nova. I
did as well.
a
It
really
was
good
so
shout out.
comfy.
Yeah,
They-
real comfy chairs.
They very correctly put me in a double seat.
It's like a couch.
Yeah, they
It's
looked me up
basically
and
a
down and I
couch.
was like, yeah, you should get the couch. and it was nice. I could stretch it out a
Yeah.
bit. There was like little tables. It was so comfy.
in
Usually in my regular cinema,
Yeah.
I squeeze into a chair and then I tuck my toes into my feet and try to put them out as far as possible. I could extend my legs all the way. And
Which you did.
I did.
Across me and Angus.
And I just touched the couches in front of us.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing, except my feet didn't touch. Because normally, like, in a normal cinema, I'll get into the fold-down seat that's really uncomfortable with, like, the plastic arms, and then
Get into
slouch
crouch
down,
positions.
and my knees are touching the row in front of me.
Yeah.
I
Think of what that's like for me as well, in this
I
situation.
fully extended my legs and I still couldn't touch the chairs in front. And like the chairs were like, they were really nice, like old worn in sofas.
They went leather as well, which is really
Yeah,
nice. They
yeah.
were like
Mine was stained.
comfy material.
I mean, not when I got there, but once I left.
Yeah. I mean, it was just from contact of all the juice and water from Jordan's
Various
pants.
juice boxes and bottles of water I've dropped to myself today.
Classic cane dogs. All right, let's get into the movie. Most positive.
Can I go first? Because I have a feeling you guys are going to take the
sure.
one that I have.
Most positive from Jordan Kane.
That's the hand in hand. It's the hand in hand podcast. It's the wrong tune. Anyway,
Sorry. Most positive from Jordan Kane.
better.
Just
So-
a dead note on the piano.
So this
John Kane.
Kane.
Just like, I think you went with the wrong
Piano hit puberty.
theme.
Anyway, no. So this film consistently cut between Tolkien's life growing up and Tolkien within World War One. Mm-hmm. Loved everything that was during the World War One period. There wasn't action. It wasn't action packed. I didn't like it because of that. It just really made me the cinematography really made me want to watch a war film done by this studio.
It reminded me of like a Hacksaw Ridge kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Like
well, that's
just
what I
the
was-
muddiness.
Yeah.
It
Like,
reminded me a little bit of Solo, a Star Wars story, when they're on that planet at war.
oh, like, yeah.
Where
with
they-
the cliff,
the-
yeah.
The one good scene
Yeah,
in the whole film.
yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, totally agree. All of that was shot really well, and I don't know, like
This film looked stunning.
it looked really
looked
good,
incredible.
because it was all like monotone, like really dark and stuff, but they had pools of blood in it as well, like
Yeah.
really vibrant reds in the
and
ground.
the vibrant oranges from fire,
Yeah.
and stuff like
And even
that.
just the placement of how they set those shots up to have someone, like quite often you'd have Tolkien standing in the middle looking
Yeah.
out to this landscape. And whether it was like, a beautiful landscape of a grassy knoll or like, fire and mud, looked awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And
Cinematography was amazing.
The war stuff was good, but the cinematography kind of extended over onto like the other shots as well. Like
Yeah,
there
they
was
did a number of match cuts which were really nice.
Yeah,
and they also
yeah.
did a bunch of like, I would say like, I don't know, like theme cuts where like it's like a bird's eye view of Tolkien. He's like laying on the ground through various moments of his life.
Yeah.
and it's doing the same.
Every now and then in his life he lied down.
sweeping movement over
Yeah.
the top of him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the main thing that I noticed is they were good shots, but they let the shots breathe as well. Like
Yeah.
in a lot of films today, it's just cut. there was one shot where it was the scene where they were going in to have dinner for the first time, and she's like, oh, I don't have a hat. It was that scene. It kind of went from the chandelier, kind of panned down. I'm like, oh yeah, that's like a nice generic opening shot. But then it kind of just continued and let them walk out and just kind of panned out slowly. Like, it was really nice just to let that shot breathe, because so often in cinema now it's just like, okay, here's the setting, here's the people, here's the conversation, all right, we're on to the next one, off we go. Exactly like that.
Right.
But yeah, so totally agree. And the other positives are obviously like the symmetry with Lord of the Rings and everything. Like, I couldn't stop seeing that stuff. Like, right at the start when he's a kid and he looks at the house and there's a wagon out the front, I'm like, fucking Gandalf's here, man.
Can I tell you the only one I found?
Jordan, there's probably going to be a lot of
Look, I figured there would be, and there's a few that I picked up on. Like, I'm not gonna there's shots of the mud and the way that mud is sort of shot, and then there's like a horse's hoof. I'm like, oh yeah, like straight out of a lot of that. The one that I found that was like direct is just again during World War One, he has a soldier that helps him the whole time. Yeah, and his soldier's name is Sam.
Yeah.
They really hammered that home at one scene where he's like, Sam, stay here. Sam, your name is Sam.
I was
Sam,
half expecting him to pick Tolkien up and be like, I can't find your friend, but I can carry you.
Sam.
It was the character based on him?
Like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I imagine. So, like, it all makes sense that it's so...
I don't know enough about the book of Lord of the Rings, so I don't know how much was invented or created for the films in comparison to what is in the book.
Yeah, I know a bit about Tolkien and his history of writing, but I don't know a lot about the books. I find it hard to read a book after I've seen a film of it.
I find it hard to read a book.
There's a lot in the book. Like, it's a really dense
I've heard a lot of that, and I've been interested in reading them, but at the same time, I just...
You know how it ends.
You've read the last page. Ends, but also I'm not picturing the characters for myself. I'm picturing characters that I'll be picturing Elijah Wood and
Viggo Mortensen and yeah, for sure. Some more things was like symmetry between the two movies was the hospital shot, where it's like looking through like a white cloth. Like, that's like towards the very end of the trilogy where Frodo's like back in Rivendell. And
it would have been really different if the girl then just started laughing like Gandalf does.
Yeah, slow motion laughing.
By the way, we're friends did.
There are a lot of great cuts between like almost like vision type stuff.
Yeah.
Which is basically, they're not really visions, but it's just like, this is like inspiration. Like, there's a moment where a dragon breathes fire and then it cuts to a bunch of soldiers.
That looks so cool.
With flamethrowers shooting fire down into the trenches. And it's just like, there were a lot of moments like that, which was like, oh, this is great.
Awesome, yeah. Like, and you can connect the dots. Yeah. So like this actually is not too far from reality. Like, where he's gotten his base of knowledge from. Yeah. It was just clever filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie was really, really well thought out.
Yeah.
Like, every shot, there's not a single shot in this whole film where they've gone, all right, stock standard today, just film it how you'd usually... Every single shot was really well thought out.
Loved Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
As Tolkien.
Nicholas Hoult? Great. I was like, is that Beast from first?
Yeah,
from
it
X-Men
is.
Film?
He's a really good actor, but it was also just one of those things where it's just like, he's actually a really famous actor. He's done a lot of big stuff, but there was not a moment where I was like, oh, it's Nicholas Hoult. He doesn't have that thing about him, like, you know that Leonardo DiCaprio is like, you only see kind of Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. Even though he's Leonardo's a great actor, but he
has a really distinctive look.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult was able to kind of kind of blend into that role.
Yeah.
And I think he did a really
Period
good job.
pieces like that really help as well.
And also, a shout out to like all of the props and set
We
design,
know they're listening.
People, because they did such a good job in this film where there was not a moment where I thought, oh, this is cool, they've recreated London or whatever. I was just like, they're in London.
In
1910.
For sure.
And there was not a moment where I was just like, oh, they're recreating London.
Which makes it so cool, because like, it looks like a smaller budget film. Like, it is obviously like, it's not like a mainstream thing. Like, it's amazing what they can do with stuff like just costumes and scenery and stuff.
There was not a single moment that took me out that it was from like 1910, 1914.
Yeah, definitely.
Not a single moment in this entire film.
Yeah, really good. Cool. Anything else that we needed to touch on?
Yeah. We all really liked the cinematography of this film.
Yeah.
There was one shot towards the end where he kind of like stands up in the middle of the field in like World War One.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning.
And there are a number of figures that kind of like stand up that are all like on fire, and he kind of stands up as these like giant creatures walk towards him, and it was one of the best looking shots that I think I've seen all year, if not the last few years. And also really reminded me of a scene in Godzilla where Godzilla stands up in the middle of like a ruined city. There's a very similar framing of like Godzilla's just like in the middle, like roaring, and the sky's all like orange. And like in this film there was like,
and Nicholas Hoult does look a lot like a giant lizard, to be fair. He has the same silhouette as a giant lizard.
Yeah, trying to make a real deep, meaningful point.
Yeah. Not on this podcast. Keep that for your banana podcast.
Yeah, that's all the bananas.
And I love that the imagery wasn't like copy and pasted out of Lord of the Rings. Like it wasn't Sauron. It's not the Sauron that we know.
It was someone else's kind of like take on it, or or his take on it. Like throughout this entire film, there is like very vivid imagery of like a ring wraith. Riding through the battlefield of World War One, and it's just like, you know, it's a ring wraith. It doesn't look exactly like the ones you've seen, but you're just like, you know, that's a ring wraith.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that was really awesome to see.
Which is awesome because it shows you like the power of books and the power of reading is that like everyone can have their own interpretation, and it's still it's still cool. Yeah, for sure. All right, sweet. Let's head into negatives. The negativos. Cane Dogs, would you like to start this off as well?
I think I have just one main negative, and like it leaks out into a lot of little ones. But the main one is, as we just talked about, all these really incredible shots, and all these intense moments from when they're in the war, contrasted to me so poorly to see them just sitting and having a really boring conversation for 30 minutes. And the whole time, anything but the cool stuff was happening. I was like, take me back and show me more of this really cool shit. Like, I don't need action and all of that, but I don't care for two people sitting in a restaurant for 45 minutes. And maybe at the end they do something crazy, like they throw a block of sugar and they get kicked out. We don't see them getting kicked out. We just see them after they've been kicked out being not phased. Or to see them, they're going to go see a show, but then they don't, so they'll stand in a corridor for 40 minutes. Or they're going to go to a tea room, and then they're just going to sit in none of that is nearly as interesting to me as seeing the parallel shots from Lord of the Rings. Like, I know there's some shots there that also are obviously very, like, you know, there to see how he got his inspiration, but they're just not nearly as interesting to me as seeing him standing in a battlefield and seeing, like, you know, ring wraiths come into World War One in his head. All of that was so interesting, and so every time they cut away from that, I was just waiting for it to come back.
I actually really liked the conversation in this. I think the script was really well put, and it felt, again, like it put us in the right decade. And I think it's like a picture of the time of like, it was all intellectual sparring. Like they when they fought on the rugby field, or like, you know, they punch each other and they're like, no, sorry, that was my bad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like fight each other with words. And it's like the movies kind of envelop that love of words that Tolkien had to kind of, and so I agree, like it's very dialogue heavy. But I mean, like, I really enjoyed it.
I don't think it was done.
I know that this is very not your kind of film, so I completely understand where you're coming from. But like the things I loved about those scenes is picking up on like things that are like under the surface, right? Like that scene they talked about where he's in the restaurant and they're talking. You hit a bunch of the notes of like what happened, but like to me that I wasn't even thinking about those notes because I was thinking about like this is the first time that he's kind of giving over into like writing his own stories, kind of like, and like publicly like displaying his love for this woman who's like a massive inspiration to him, and it's like, and this is all more stuff going into Lord of the Rings, right? And so like I was picturing that stuff, so I loved all of those scenes, because of those moments where it's like, because like Lord of the Rings is a lot of action, but it's also a lot of talking, and like friendship between characters, and so like I could like get that from like all of his moments where he's talking to his friends, or he's talking to Edith, his like his eventual wife.
I don't think I have any real negatives based on this film objectively. Yeah. I think this film is going to be liked or disliked almost entirely subjectively. I think, much like Stan and Ollie, we watched Stan and Ollie, and that film was made incredibly well. I just found it incredibly dry with content.
It wasn't for us.
And I think as that film was for some people, this film is the same. It is made incredibly well. Cinematography is perfect. The script has nailed showing the world that he grew up in, which also, therefore, like, you know, enveloped him in his ideas. But because it's not something I have an interest in, subjectively, I found it boring as fuck.
Yeah. I'll go into... I don't really have a negative for this film. So instead of a negative, I'll go back and kind of redo who I would recommend watching this to.
Sure.
I think I would recommend watching this if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings or whatever, the movies or the books, you might not enjoy this still. But if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, in a deeper way where it like had some sort of connection with you, or as a kid, or if it is something that like you made you really like think about the world, and you really got into like the different creatures and kind of like what they meant, and like the poetry between the language and stuff. If you got into all of that, then I think you would like this film, because it's
definitely.
But if you liked Lord of the Rings because they're fucking awesome films, and like, but they're like, that was kind of like the limit of your love, is like, which is totally valid.
Yeah.
That's where I am at.
Then this film might not be for you.
Yeah, for sure. I do have a few negatives that I just wanted to point out. Broadman, I thought you'd pick up on this one.
Oh, the shaky camera?
No. It's in the hospital scene where he opens the letter from his mate. It opens up and it's obviously a CGI letter. Did you pick up on that?
Oh no, I didn't pick up that.
He opens it up and there's no fold lines or anything, and there's this weird like CGI shadow, and it kind of flops more like a bit of fabric than a piece of paper.
Okay.
That was really off to me. I'm like, well, just write it on a normal.
Could be that
letter.
they weren't sure what the letter is going to say. Like maybe they wrote that bit last, and they're like, oh, we'll just chuck a CGI script over it. But if you're going to do that, just maybe don't cut to what it says in the letter.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of ways around that.
There's a few like.
Did you see the super
CGI thing?
The super shaky cam, when it was handheld.
Super shaky cat.
They didn't use like a Steadicam or anything, and so it was super shaky. It was almost like someone was holding onto the camera itself.
Yeah.
So there was moments where it was like a close up on Tolkien or Edith, and it was just shaking.
Oh, really?
And because we were watching on the screen, we were close to the screen. I was just like, oh my god, this is.
Yeah, right.
That drove me nuts throughout the entire film.
Sweet. Anything else that we didn't like?
I think maybe establishing the friendship at the very beginning, when you meet sort of the first boy that you meet is meant to come across as like a bit of a bully. And I get that back then that's probably far more accurate as to what bullies were like, because we're used to seeing bullies in modern day shows, and they're still liberal.
They're 20 years old. They wear black. They come in and beat up a kid.
Yeah. Like, you know, I'm used to that being wrong, and I get that during this day and age that the movie is set, it's still probably far more likely that is. But I'm just still so sick of seeing generic bully picks on new kid in school for because I just don't care.
It'd also be the level of like the stature and stuff. That was like where you were.
Like, and they do explain it with the headmaster. The minute he sat down and there was 3 kids that looked and giggled, I was like, all right, can't wait for 20 minutes of them being a dick, and then like, I care. Like,
fair enough. Do you think it's cool that they have like tea houses? I'm not sure if they still have tea houses. It's like a pub, but for tea.
You've got
I've never.
Is your question, do they exist, or do I think it's cool?
I love the style of it, with like the red leather couches and the dark woods.
Because like a library, but
the problem is that it'd just be full of bloody hipsters.
Place for you to go and sit and kind of talk in the middle of like a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, there was like a library, and there was like other places, like so many rooms in that building, and the tea house was like at the back through like down like a long hallway. I loved all of that sort of stuff. I think the idea of a place like that is really, really cool. They probably exist, but also they're probably full of shit people.
Yeah.
So,
and just crumbs in books.
It's just like the cool bars that are like
just tea-stained books,
hidden speakeasies. Like that's really cool. Where it's just like there's like a fake storefront, and you go there and you like walk through a fridge, and then you're in a bar.
Yeah, good to know a bit about Brody's hidden life.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
I had to walk into 5 fridges before I found one that actually opened up into a bar.
That's not what you were doing in my fridge. You were there for 3 days.
Or may not have eaten some of the stuff in the fridge. I ate my way to the bar.
Yeah, my way to the bar.
Sweet. All right. I can't think of anything
made the
else
line
that
"The Witch
was...
in a Fridge" a very different book.
Yeah, I thought
I thought one of the friends wrote.
I thought one of the friends
wardrobe.
wrote that as well, but maybe I'm making that
I
up.
thought that was a
in my
much
head.
more recent story.
Which tells me that I think it because you told me it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I was wrong. Yeah, because I kept on thinking, I'm like, so who wrote that?
Yeah,
But-
well, because you told me that, I was looking for like, because they're all
Little hints,
There's
yeah.
scenes where they're all expressing their own work, and I'm like, at some point, someone's gonna say Aslan, or someone's gonna get into a wardrobe, or some shit, and it never happened. And I was like, fuck that guy. Whoever wrote that one, he's not getting a scenic
Yeah,
credit.
it turns out they weren't good mates. I
Yeah.
didn't realize. Maybe they went to the same college. Maybe they were like professors or something. I feel like maybe they were professors.
Maybe they're just both books.
I'm gonna go out
Maybe
and
that's the only
definitely
similarity.
confirm that
Brody's
they were
confirming it
definitely
right
maybe
now.
professors that were definitely both probably English.
1950. So
Yeah.
it was even after he wrote Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. They can still be friends.
You didn't have any friends after that.
Loser.
Oh, jeez.
To be fair, anyone that does enjoy his stuff was generally termed a loser in high school up until very recently.
That's why you were termed a loser from most of our upbringing,
Yeah.
and me also.
I don't know. I think Lord of the Rings was such a popular book.
Me and Angus made our own characters, and Angus wrote his own language, and then we tried to speak it to each other in school.
Yeah, we guys were such nerds. Jesus Christ.
Remember when we made our own races
how we've
as
chatted.
well?
Yeah, you came up with Crabbles.
Crabbles,
Crablets.
yeah.
Crabbles.
Crabbles.
Which was just
Not
half,
even cool,
half
man.
crab, half man.
half crab, half man. Top half crab.
Crabs are people.
Top half crab. Bottom half just some human legs.
They're actually quite short.
Not good at high jump.
No.
No, they're very good at high jump. They're just no good at literally everything else.
Great at limbo. And on that note, I think that's it. I think that's what we thought of Tolkien. I bloody love that. I actually feel so refreshed seeing a movie that was just so well thought out and
Yeah.
just really wonderfully
It was nice.
created and made, and it was just really nice to see.
It was like a warm drink on a cold
Yeah,
night.
it was like a slow burn, but a nice slow burn,
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like a whiskey, and I don't drink alcohol, so I'm sure it's nice.
And
but
I'm an
for me-
alcoholic.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nice, but for me, it tasted like
Metaphorically.
shit.
Next week we are going to be reviewing yesterday.
That's what we're doing.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
See you tomorrow.
Seems
All
so far
our
away.
podcast seems so far away.
I come from a land down under.
Thank you for listening to the Film Slice Podcast. You can reach us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All are equally monitored. Next week we're reviewing yesterday. Make sure you write us into that. And Cane Dogs, take us out with a little story of one of Tolkien's greatest hits.
His greatest hits.
Yep.
One time, and this really is my favorite story. Him and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
They went to a
Nice.
fancy place for some tea and biscuits.
Very good.
And she didn't wear a hat.
Bitch.
And